vice presidential debates just happened. Any interesting takes you have on that? I have
Uh,
two things that, 2 points I have.
I only have one take, and I watched the again. I watched the live watch with Katie Halper and Matt Taibbi, and at one point, Matt Taibbi described when when Pence was talking. He said this is like watching a moth die from natural causes, and I must agree it was that boring, except the part where the fly came and some of the Pence's just matter of fact claims, just with his very calm and very whispery voice. But it was boring. It was irrelevant. I don't think it matters. And they just repeated the lines given to them. So and it didn't even have the fun Trump effect. So you know
You know the fly thing? Just a
that was
while ago, I was doing a video interview, but it was recorded. And there was a fly all over me on my face, and I didn't know what to do half the time. And then I was like, I was trying to get it to go
just
away. It
what
was so funny, just like Pence. He did a better job though. He was like, he was like,
I don't think he noticed. I don't think because he was here, right?
yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. Okay, so two things came to me. One is that after I was listening to the Young Turks and their breakdown of it today, and Cenk was like just saying all the other way. Cenk Uygur, the man behind TYT, really, he was saying that Kamala should have been like more aggressive, and he was showing what he would have done, and like yeah, sure, that sounded much better because I watched the highlights of it, which was about 17 minutes, and she did seem like she kept on doing like this smirky thing, like he would say something ridiculous, and she'd be like, "Are you guys hearing the stuff that he says?" And I don't know how that's taken too much, but if I hadn't heard the stuff that they said about Michelle Obama about a month ago when she just she did a talk during the Democratic convention, they were like she was aggressive and mad. I saw like a clip of it. I mean, I've never seen someone being like more soft spoken and just gentle. I was like, these people are crazy. Like, what are they talking about? I mean, why would Michelle Obama get mad anyway? And so I kind of understand in a way that Kamala Harris kind of taking her side here. I mean, she hasn't come out and saying this, but if she was just a bit more forceful, there would have been a big narrative around her being too aggressive, or I don't know, all these kind of things that they say about Michelle Obama, which is furthest from the truth. But then I think like maybe you should do it because sometimes Biden is not even a socialist, and they accuse him of being a socialist. So even if you're not a bit more imposing, they're still going to come out and say these things on her. But I think that's really something that that works against them, is that if she actually is strong and impose herself more, they would have been like, oh, look at this angry black woman and blah 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 shouting. So that's just one thing that I think really held her back. And unfortunately, even though I don't agree with most of their policies, and I don't think they even have anything to say, but that's just something that should not be brushed aside. It is a very important dynamic that she has to work with.
Sure. No, to be honest, I think she could have maybe gone more aggressive, but it would have risked, yeah, a backlash perhaps because Pence is such a,
And yeah,
you know, goody two shoe as well. And but to be honest, again, this is so insignificant in the whole thing. I mean, I would have played it safe too.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I would. Yeah, I to be honest, I do that too, like the smirk thingy. But yeah, I would have just. It doesn't. It's not a good look in debate when you're trying
And
to
she did it
convince.
a lot, it seemed like.
Yeah, she's famous for it, really. But
Which in
uh,
a way it's a human reaction, I mean, when
yeah,
he comes up with the hypothetical of, if the swine flu
nice.
was as deadly.
The reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu, 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives.
As deadly as the
90
coronavirus
million.
did. What the hell are you supposed to say to that? Or, I mean, one other thing I wonder was fact check. You know, he kept on talking about Biden wanting to ban fracking. And he said there are hundreds of thousands of jobs associated with the fracking industry. I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
how much you have to, like, you know, how far you have to go, you know, being like, this job depends on this, on that, on this. But I mean, you know, it was a bit ridiculous. I mean, it sounded like quite a
I don't
high
know
made
what's
up,
on.
but because these industries, natural resource industries, are sometimes not that, you know, labor intensive. They're not like manufacturing.
No, but I do think fracking is a big industry now in the US. It's not a small,
Yeah.
it's pretty big right now. So no, I do think that was actually important, but I don't think Biden is not gonna ban fracking. It's, that's no, yeah. So yeah, I mean, he might not give them as much subsidy.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't think that, but yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of, it was very pretty much the first half, which I watched in with more focus, was pretty much, yeah, you killed this many people, and then the other guy saying, if it were you, you would have killed this many people. So
Yeah.
like not much substance really.
Exactly. And then people are like, and, you know, you hear like, oh, you know, it was like civil, but we didn't get too much substance and we didn't learn about their policies. I mean, listen, if there were policies to learn about, you would have heard about them over the course of the past 2 years. It's not like these people were, you know, kept away and this is the first time that they got to talk. You know, if there was a policy that they could, you know, proudly mention without
Yeah,
people
they
like
would have.
being what the hell, they would have. But I mean, what are they gonna say?